Welcome to Gaming with MJ and Blue.
Let's talk gaming. So, Blue, what have you been up to this week?
So this week, as far as gaming is concerned, I did get to play a little bit of Hytale. I had fun with that. I haven't done anything too extensive, but I was working on clearing our area a little bit. There was like this big structure that was like some sort of ruins. But I decided to kind of get rid of it, clear it out. And I'm still trying to expand and refine our farming area. So for all of our crops that we're building up. And Vunder, my wife, was working on the building. We had some plans that we were going to do with that. And so that kind of is what we've been doing with Hytale. But on top of that, another game I actually played this week because I got the itch to play something different, something I haven't played, and actually a genre I haven't really dived into or played in a long time, and that's a platformer game. In this case, I was playing Hollow Knight for the first time. Now, Hollow Knight is a super popular game. It's been out for a very long time. I bought it because it was on sale. It was only, I forget, like $8, maybe a little less. And so I knew it was going to be a good game because of the hype it has. So I dived into that. And let me tell you, the first time I opened it up, the music got me. The music in this game is beautiful. I love this style of music. It's almost like you're listening to some sort of symphony orchestra, very musical, but very good emotional feeling music. So that right away, just like, okay, this is I think going to be an interesting game to say the least. And sure enough, like I was jumping around doing the thing, and I'm like, okay, I like this game. I did know I can't like do super long game sessions with games like that. So after a little while, I'm like, okay, I think I need to take a break. I'm done. I'll play again another day. Not in the sense of I'm never gonna try it again. I'm never gonna play it again, but in the sense of just for some reason I just couldn't do a very long game session with it. Not sure why, but that's whatever. So yeah, that's basically been my gaming for the week. I actually look forward to eventually beating that game. How about you, MJ? What have you been up to?
First off, a couple of things. I love music in games. If it's done really well, it really does add to it. Also, anytime you can play a game that's been sitting in your library without any attention, that's always a plus, right? Or you can
Mm-hmm.
like resurrect an old game that you haven't played in a really, really long time. That is always a plus. So I applaud that for you getting that done. So those are two good things. I have been playing Hytale just a little bit. I've been redoing my little farm area. I expanded it. It was a tiny little farm, but I found that I just wasn't able to grow the crops that are in large enough numbers. So I moved it over to my other side of my little base area and I expanded it out quite a bit. And then I started focusing in on some of the more advanced type of crops that you don't get until you do upgrades. So I finally got those upgrades. I've been kind of upgrading that and just going up the chain, of upgrading. I'm not at the top yet, but I'm like second to the top. And I've been able to fill up my chests with those kind of crops. I don't know what they're for. I don't know what to use them for. I just kind of leave them in a drawer somewhere and just let them go. But I've been kind of doing that. The only other
Nice.
thing I've been doing other than that is I find some places sometimes to explore here and there. And as far as other games I've been playing, I have been playing other games. I jumped into No Man's Sky for a little bit
Oh,
because of that update to it, because it had an update for where you're salvaging things, you're salvaging like industrial salvage.
you're a trash
So
man.
yeah, I'm a trash man basically. Yeah. So I started up one of those little mini games that you have. I guess I don't know what they call it. They call it like an event type of game where you're like um, just trying out the new stuff. I forget what they call it, but it's where you just play a single game to try the new stuff, and then it kind of goes through an expedition of like try this, then try this, then try this. It's kind of got its own progression so that you learn all the stuff that's new. So I've been doing that with the trash stuff. And it's been fun. It's been fun to like remake your Colossus into a little truck, and then you just load up the back of it and drive. I wish there was a way, and they'll probably add this later, where you can do a little better on roads because stuff keeps dumping out. Because you know how random planets are. They're hilly and rocky and terrible, and the truck can do it. The truck can move over rocks and really sharp turns and everything, but every time you do it, you're going to lose some material, or you take the potential of losing some material.
So would you say that more detracts from the gameplay, or does it add to it?
I haven't gotten far enough to make a definite decision on that. The way that the games like that expand, it's sort of like Minecraft. Like you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
We've added enough playthings in the game that you can be the trash guy if you want. You can do this or do that, or you can follow those little different tracks of expedition type things that were expeditions in the past, like getting a certain kind of ship, getting a living ship, growing a living ship. That's I still haven't completed that. I don't have a living ship. I didn't really care that much. And so
Right.
I'm just
Yeah.
kind of checking out the trash thing, salvaging. It's kind of neat. Where it'll
Mm-hmm.
go, I'm not sure. Like maybe it'll give you some special material, but
Mm.
that you can only get through salvaging. I don't know. We'll have to see. Once I get a little further into it, I'll know a little better.
Yeah. So Vunder got to play a little bit of it yesterday, and she was showing me a little bit of the gameplay. For me personally, like things falling out of your truck bed is actually kind of not fun at all. Like I know maybe some people are just diehards. They like being punished or something in games. Like, oh yeah, I didn't take that close enough, and now everything. To me, that's not that fun. It's like, oh, I'm just picking things up. Like I can do that in real life. I can go outside and pick stuff up if I needed to. But it did feel like there was maybe some lacking. Maybe so Vunder was showing me like the depot you can take them to. Spoilers, by the way, if anybody hasn't gotten into that yet. But she was showing me the depot and everything, and it didn't really seem very clear. Maybe you gotta just do a little bit more research, but it didn't seem clear which one of these unit, like you could take it to the main unit and dump everything and you get your credits for it, whatever. But it looked like they had individual refiners or scrappers for specific things. And if you put the right things in there, you would, I'm assuming, just get more or for your value. I don't know. But it wasn't clear at all. We didn't know what scrap was supposed to actually be put in each of these. But anytime you tried to put something in, it seemed like it said, oh, this is not the right material here. So you just destroyed it and you didn't get anything for it, kind of thing. So I think there needs to be maybe even a little bit more clear understanding of what exactly those extra recyclers are for. But anyway, I don't know. Have you messed with that at all? The recycling stations?
You can figure it out because while you're scanning, if you're looking at a piece of trash salvage, it'll glow with a certain icon, and that icon tells you
Oh,
where it goes. So
okay.
they're
So you
all
got to use
kind
the
of
scanner.
green,
Yeah.
but you look at the little picture of it, it's a
Uh-huh.
little bit different. So it's subtle. Like it's not easy to
Mm,
see, but there are subtle differences between the different icons that come up when you're scanning it.
okay.
And one of them is like radiation, like a radioactive symbol. One's
Mm-hmm.
like a biohazard type stuff, and one
Right.
of them is just like normal scrap.
Hmm.
And you don't have to care about any of that stuff if you don't want, because you can get your once you get your Colossus going and you've got the dump truck,
Mm-hmm.
you actually pull your dump truck up to this area that has the little crane.
Right. Right.
You pull up to it, and then you get out of your truck, your Colossus. You go over to the little controls, and it comes up and it'll charge you like a little bit of money, but it'll just scrap everything for you and do it all for you.
Oh, so is that the trick then? It actually charges you to use the automatic one, or you can
Yeah,
just bypass the charging by putting it in manually?
you can do it manually if you want. If you want to look at it and figure out which where it goes
Mm,
and shoot it into the place where it goes,
yeah.
there's a little bit of skill there as far as
Yeah.
shooting that little grappler thing, little grav arm or whatever it is,
Yeah.
grav gun or whatever you want to call it.
Interesting.
There is some skill to that. Like
Yeah.
if you don't want to mess with that, pull your dump truck up and let it figure it out, and just pay like
The
140
the
credits or
fee.
something, and it'll figure it out for you. And it does it instantly. Like it just
Hmm.
pull it up and hit the button and it does it. You do have to go into the
Okay.
interface and you have to say scrap, and it does scraps. It charges you, and you say yes, and then that's it. And it just disappears it from the back of your truck,
Okay.
and you
Nice.
can get
Okay.
back in your
So
truck and go for some more.
so we just weren't looking close enough, I guess.
Yeah, it's subtle. Like it took me a while, like because I ended up putting something radioactive into the main scrapper, and it was like you get no credits. And I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, I guess that's important.
Hmm.
And then I started looking at the different kinds of scrap, because if it's a container, it very likely has something in it. So it's like a radioactive or biohazard or something.
Right.
Anyway, so there is some tricks to it, a little bit of work, but the main thing is, it'll start sending you out to go to these different areas where there's like big areas of industrial waste, and then you got to go there with your Colossus, fill up your truck, and then come back, right? So that going and coming, you're dumping all your stuff off.
Yeah.
You don't lose it all, but you'll lose probably, say you got 20 things in there, you're going to lose 10, and they're just
Gotcha.
going to fall out on the way. So you can go back and pick it up.
Yeah, that
But
seems a
it
little.
was annoying.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems a little annoying.
If
No,
they're
that's
going to generate that, they need to generate like at least some kind of dirt road or something between the
oh,
sites, because it generates these sites
hmm,
that you go to, but it has no connection between them. Like they're just randomly scattered everywhere, and so you have to drive there. And so it's generally within 5 minutes away or whatever. But in that 5 minutes, you're driving and you're dumping all your stuff off.
mm.
Not all of it, 50% of it.
I will say because I love No Man's Sky too. I haven't played it in a while either. It's one of those games that I do seem to go back to once in a while. Um, but that's another game that just going off of our early conversation, that's another game I feel like the music is really good. Like not amazing, like that's what you think of when you think of No Man's Sky. But when you listen to it, when you're in it, especially in some certain situations, it's like, man, this is actually really nice music to this game. And it's the same with Minecraft. Minecraft has some really good music in it, and Hytale too. I've heard some of the soundtracks of the Hytale game so far, and I really like those too. Sorry, I keep going back to the music thing. I think it's just because I really enjoyed the music in Hollow Knight. But anyway,
We
yeah,
may need an episode that focuses on music, because music is a part of gaming to
I was already
me. And
thinking that.
often, not every time, but I will grab the soundtrack when I grab a game too. It's sort of part of the
hmm
cost to me
hmm
if I like it. If I don't like it, then I'll skip it. I won't buy it. But
Yeah.
there are a few occasions where I've actually bought the soundtrack. And I have had left Hytale up and running while I was working. So I
hmm
had my headphones on and I could listen to the background music because it was
hmm
playing while I was just, in the menu. And yeah, it's pretty good.
Not bad. Yeah. Again, there's some games that it feels like the music just grabs you, and then
Yeah.
there's some games that you enjoy it a lot, but maybe not quite to that level. I haven't had that the initial like, wow, this music is amazing. I don't get that feeling very often. But when I do, I'm always a little surprised by it. I'm like, why is this music getting me so much? This is great. But
Hmm.
anyway, yeah, I
There's,
agree. I think we need an episode on music, game music.
yeah. Yeah, I remember this really, really old game, pretty retro, that had good music in it. It was on a loop, right? But I
hmm
did not mind because it was so good.
Mm.
I let it go and go and go while I was playing. And I hardly ever do that. Usually once I've heard the music for a solid hour, I'm like, okay, done with it. Because
hmm
it's on a loop, right? And it only has so much. And so eventually you just turn off the music.
Yeah.
Because, you just listen to your own music or whatever.
hmm
Or no music.
Yeah.
Just have it, you know, listen to the game sounds is all.
hmm
Typically I end up there. Like Minecraft, I'm there. I'm already there. I don't listen to any of the music in Minecraft.
Well, I was gonna say that I do like the Minecraft music. It doesn't feel like the music is implemented very well. It's so randomly thrown at you, and it sometimes it just feels very out of place, like for the environment or the circumstances you're in. Not
I
that the
do
music's not good. It's just yeah.
I do use the CDs sometimes, like the little discs,
hmm
and that I'll turn on.
Yeah,
If I want to pop a CD in and listen to it or whatever,
yeah,
I'll do that. But that's pretty rare. I don't do it very
yeah.
much.
You have to really be in the mood for the same song on on rotation.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I bet there's ways of cycling them though. Like if you get a whole bunch of records or music discs, and you could just have them pop out every time they're done with their
Yeah.
tune and put
I'm
another one in.
certain. I'm certain there's a redstone contraption that'll do that,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is.
but I haven't built it, and I don't know if I ever will.
I don't think I would either. I don't put enough time in that game for that doesn't that doesn't draw me to Minecraft.
Some
Oh
some
man.
builds I like, and I'll take the time to do it, but not that.
Yeah. Very cool.
All right. Well, next we're going to talk about the news.
More
So
news.
I'll do the Minecraft news first, and that is more baby mobs. So if we take a look at that, it's all on the website, but under the new snapshot, the baby mob section, they've updated the zombie. It has a new model, better fit. Husk, they had to make some adjustments to it. The drowned, also the same adjustments. Piglin as well, and then the zombified piglin, the villager, and the zombie villager. So mainly they're just like better fitting the model because probably needs a little bit of shaping of it a little better. So they just did that as all.
Right.
What else
Yeah.
you got?
Yeah. Well, and you know what? The thing with that too is if they're going through all the mobs in the game, like that's a lot of work.
It's gonna take a while, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. It'll be interesting to see if because I'm sure they've hinted toward other things, but I'm like all I've really seen for this upcoming update is just baby mobs, which is fine, but yeah, curious if there's more.
I imagine they have a lot of artists, and they just they take 10 artists, and each one focuses on a baby mob today, and they'll just reshape it or something, or tweak it or whatever. Spend the day tweaking it, or the week tweaking it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably like a sort of a little production chain where we're going to see every mob probably touched, which is fine.
Yeah. All right. Should we get into Hytale next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this is just one of the latest posts, February 11th, 2026. This is talking a bit more, it's going into technical stuff. So it's talking about the NPCs and the rundown of them. This is actually something I would like to take a little bit of time and actually dive into because it's talking about how you can change the roles of different mobs to adjust how the NPC behavior is, which is actually pretty cool. It's really trying to, again, kind of like what we talked about last week. Hytale is really trying to make it so people can modify things as easily as possible. And so they said, in as far as like this, all you got to do is just change what role that specific mob is labeled as and then it'll take on that behavior. Uh, which is fascinating to me. Like I said, I got to look a little bit more into it to see exactly what that entails. Does that, adjust how the animations run, or is that something completely different? Is that just how aggressive they are with you, or how docile they are with you? Are they going to just follow you around? All these different things kind of come into play. But I always appreciate these technical things, especially when they're actually showing you how to do this directly from the company. So anyway, that's all I really see right now as far as Hytale news. But again, this was February 11th.
I have been getting into the harder areas and dying a lot more. So I'm in the area where now the people have the cobalt armor. The NPCs have the cobalt armor, so the enemies, and they're a little tougher. They drop cobalt armor and they drop different things. So it is cool to see their look, their model, and how cool it is, and they've done a lot of work on it. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it is cool. All right, you ready to move to the next section?
Yeah,
because we got a tidbit of the week, and this is your deal, so I will let you talk about it.
So this is something I thought we could add to the podcast in the news section. So obviously, primarily our news, we cover just latest news on Minecraft and Hytale, which is absolutely fine. These are our two primary games. Definitely Minecraft, and I think Hytale has that potential to be fairly regular as well. But obviously, there's more games out there than just those two. So this one I thought I'd talk a little bit about, and that would be Subnautica 2. I honestly am surprised that I haven't seen more of this because it seems like every time I hear anything about Subnautica, it's always about the drama that they've had and why things have gotten pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. Quite honestly, you don't know who to believe, who's being honest and who's not, because you always hear two sides of a story. So for that reason, I don't care about their drama. Like, I'll just throw that out right out there. Whatever. What's the game? how's that coming? Hopefully you guys get your issues worked out so we can get this literally amazing looking game. But probably in the last 3 or 4 months, they started putting out more dev videos of things that they've been showing off as far as the functionality of the game. But what recently popped into my feed on YouTube was them talking about their multiplayer. So when they designed Subnautica, the original, they did not make it multiplayer at all. There's mods for that, which are super popular, but the core game itself was not designed with that in mind. Same thing with its predecessor, Below Zero. But with Subnautica 2, it was a whole different ballpark. They started from the beginning with wanting to make this multiplayer. So you can literally go in there with your friends and you can follow the story, or if somebody wants to run off and do their own thing, they can do that. But they talked a little bit about the functionality of that. So I just thought it was really cool because I'm like, okay, I don't know why I haven't seen these devlogs, but it's good to see that they're still planning on getting this out sometime soon. And I'm looking forward to it. I liked Subnautica 1. Another game that I haven't finished, so I might have to go back, but I haven't played in a long time, so I might have to start fresh. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Depends on how I feel. But yeah, have you played Subnautica, the first one, at all, MJ?
Oh yeah, I played through it all. Played through the entire
Yeah.
story.
What did you
I did
think? What
not.
was your opinions?
I didn't get through the Below Zero. I didn't get through the
Oh,
entire story. I started it and then kind of got bored.
yeah. Oh,
I've
okay.
heard that's pretty common. Like a lot
Ah,
of people are just like, this is not that great,
ah,
and they just stop. But I played through the 100% of the first story, so I got all the
cool.
way through it. So
Maybe we'll
it
have
was
to
good. It's fun.
do maybe a little bit of a deep dive into that one of these days, into Subnautica. I feel like we can do that with a few of these games, and probably a lot of these games. Really, just have a whole segment on it.
Yeah, I've wish listed Subnautica 2, but there's one thing that's disturbing to me about it is that it's not coming out on it's all coming out on only one platform, and that's Windows 10, 11. And I don't use
Oh,
Windows. I don't use Windows 11, so I don't use Windows 10 really.
yeah.
So I would like to see it because the original Subnautica is multi-platform,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like it came out slowly, like it was developed on Windows and then eventually moved to other things. It it came out on everything. Even Mac could run it. So if you look at Subnautica 2, it has only Windows 10, 11.
Hmm.
Windows 10, 11, recommended 11, and I just don't run it. And there's a lot of people like me that just don't. They refuse to get into Windows 11 because of the problems with it.
Yeah.
Spying on you and such, which you can turn off, right? Like you
Yeah.
can, but you have to do it aggressively. Like you have to do it so hard that you end up breaking your system,
Mm,
possibly. You may have to rebuild stuff. You have to run scripts to do it, and it's really harsh on a general user. I
yeah.
can do it, but on a general user to go through those steps every time you do an update and then go back and rerun these scripts, it's a little harsh.
Yeah.
So I always like it whenever it shows up multi-platform. Like, why
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't an Xbox be able to play it? Why wouldn't a Linux box be able to play it? Because that's where Steam's going, because Steam likes the idea of you being able to use Linux, because if it can be ported to Linux very easily, then a Steam Deck can run it,
Yep.
because that's their whole Steam Deck thing, because they sell more
Mm-hmm.
Steam Decks if they can get more games on it. So they're really pushing it, and I really like to see that. I like to see multi-platform. Like, stop getting these developers that don't get out of their little silo of, I can only use VS Code. That's all I understand, and that's all I know. Like, grow up, all right? It's not the only thing out there. And how do you have a job doing that? You've got to be able to expand your repertoire.
Yeah.
How do you only learn how to use one tool? That's just not very sensible. But anyway, people do it. People do it, and they
Yeah.
make plenty of money doing it, I guess. And they sell plenty of games that are Windows only. But that always worries me, because anytime you see a game that is a labor of love from the developers, it's multi-platform.
Mm.
So that's why I say it disturbs me, because they shifted from labor of love, multi-platform, Subnautica 1, beautiful game, everybody loves it, to we're only doing one thing now.
Yeah. You know what? I wonder if that has to do with the fact that the original dev team kind of sold Subnautica to
Yep.
another company. Oh, that's the downside is like when you start with your individual developers, it is very much generally it's very much that way. It's like they're in it because they love what they do. They love the game. They want to really produce it and they care about the fans and they want to make sure the fans are happy. But once you start giving it to a company, it's all about the money more than anything else. Your developers might still be trying to please the fans as much as possible, but they're going to have that pressure from the company to just produce what they need when they need it. So yeah, you do lose a little bit of that labor of love type feel. I think that's pretty accurate. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you have anything else to add, but that's all I really had on my tidbit of the week. Maybe they will make it cross-platform eventually. I don't know. I do wish they would have done that to begin with, but
I
yeah,
do have a
time will tell.
solution for it. Like if I really want to play a game and it's not cross-platform, and oh well, I can't play it, I do have a solution, and it's generally has to do with like I've got a Foundation account on
Mhm.
NVIDIA GeForce One or GeForce
Oh,
Now,
right. Yep.
so I can play games over there, and
Mhm.
there are games that I love enough that I play there a lot. But once I'm done with the game, I kind of don't play it anymore, right? So it kind of
Mhm.
just I don't use my account very much, and I pay very low for the account because I'm a founding member. So it's really low monthly charge to keep an account there for me anyway. Um,
Mhm.
so I can play a Windows only game if I need to, as long as they put it on GeForce Now, which I can
Gotcha.
imagine Subnautica 2 probably they're already working that out. It's just a contract. It's just a
Yeah.
contract between the two because the only thing Nvidia that makes off of it is the sale of the game,
Hmm.
and they load up Steam. So they're like, well, here, play this game, and they'll load up Steam, and you'll purchase it through Nvidia. So they make a little cash there.
Hmm.
That's all they make on it. So, um, I can totally see them just making that contract and putting it out there. Many games go over to it. So
Hmm.
I hope to see it there. And if I do, then and I just want to play it and love it, well, then I'll have to be just doing it, in the streaming space, which is okay. I've done that before. In fact, that's where No Man's Sky started. Is it was only Windows, right? So I played it a lot. I got 1,000 hours in it, nearly 1,000 hours, and all of that is in NVIDIA.
I'm
So
pretty
streaming,
I'm pretty sure No Man's Sky started off as a PlayStation only title.
really? Oh, you're
Yeah.
right. It did.
Yeah.
It did
In
start
the
out
very
PlayStation only,
beginning. I
but
think
then
it
it
came
moved
to
to Windows.
PCs soon.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it
it came
came
to
to computer
PC,
later.
went to Steam, and then uh, it was that way for a long time. And then
Mhm.
I guess they just decided to release a Mac version, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, that was the year of happiness for me. Now I can run it natively, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it was all right. I could run it natively, and it runs so well natively, but it looks fine in streaming. So
Mhm.
I do either. It's fine.
Cool. Nice.
All right, what's next? Let's see. How about the tools of the week? You want to go first?
Sure. So my tool of the week that I thought of that I really enjoyed, and I'm just going to focus on a mod, and I'm only doing one this week, but it is the mod Lightmatica for Minecraft. So Lightmatica is a really fun tool for those that are trying to build something really quick to get a general grasp or an idea and then utilize that build in a survival world. So I think generally it works well for content creators to plan out builds. But basically, what it does is once you've created your build in a creative world, so you go into a creative world, you do all the work, make the building look as nice as you want it, then you actually can highlight that whole build area, and you can copy it, and then when you go into your survival world, as long as you're using the same instance of Minecraft that you were using in your creative world, you can take that schematic and it creates a hologram of your build. You can position it anywhere you want in the world and set it. And what's really nice is it gives you a full list of all the materials that you need to build that building. So instead of you just trying to figure out, what goes where, you have it all there. So then you can go out, you can mine all your resources, get it whatever you need. Then you can come back and you can actually do the pick block on the hologram. And as long as you have those blocks in your inventory, it'll pull them up, and then you can start placing. It's actually a really cool mod. I've used it a few times. I'm not like an extensive content creator anyway or anything, but sometimes it's nice if you're trying to just build something, to do that in creative, to get a better overview of it. And then you want the challenge of, okay, now I got to actually go out. I have my design, so to speak, and now I'm going to go out and do my actual work. It kind of reminds me of construction in the real world anyway, because that's how construction is. Somebody, like an architect, will create blueprints of a house, designs, whatever, and then you would obtain those materials, you'd bring them to the site that you're working on, and then you would build according to those designs. This is basically just the same thing in Minecraft. You're just doing the initial legwork, not in the survival world. So to me, that's kind of cool. But I come from a construction background. Maybe that's why I'm drawn to it a little bit more. I know some people might view it as kind of cheaty. That's opinion. I mean, if you feel that way, sure, that's fine. That's you. But if other people don't care, then that's fine too. I'm kind of in the ballpark of it doesn't bother me. But yeah, so that's my tool of the week.
I have seen streamers use that tool. They're going for a very specific build and they want to make it, and it does that little overlay thing. That would really annoy me, so I don't do that. But that overlay, anything overlay, I don't have good visual perception, so an overlay like that is very annoying and distracting, and I would just do my best to like try to build it the way I remember, or I would maybe write it down, like all the plans or whatever. I would probably just do that, or I would just use like World Edit to just copy paste, something like that. Which World Edit will do something similar. It'll take what's called a schematic or a schema, and you can save it, and then you can reload it into a different one. But it's just for like copying the exact model or the exact build. It's not for like building it yourself and putting an overlay in. But anyway, those are very cheaty, as far as cheating goes.
Yeah. Technically, if you're in creative, you can do the same thing with Litematica. You can actually just paste it right into the world.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I utilized that when I was trying to work on our hub, big building I made. Yeah. Anyway,
the big tower thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked cool. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to be able to make a production type of thing that you want to play with. Exactly the way you want it.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's cool. My tool is a website, and it's called Deck of Cards, and that's the name of the website. I don't know how they did this, but it is actually deck.of.cards. So that's it. No .com, no nothing. Just Deck of Cards. All it does is produce a deck of cards on the screen whenever you go there, and then you can use your mouse to manipulate the deck of cards. So you can shuffle it. You can, there's buttons to shuffle it and lay it out and do whatever you want. You can just, it's like you're sitting over the desktop and a real deck of cards, and you're just playing cards. You can also do multiplayer, so you could play some gin rummy or whatever you wanted to do. I don't think I would play anything fast paced, but it does have a multiplayer ability so that you can just play with a deck of cards between the two of you. I know I've used it whenever I was developing a game. There's two ways that I was developing a game. One, I was developing a digital game, right? And so I was trying to make it where I rely on a deck of cards to produce enough randomness for me to be able to do what I needed. And I had to actually like physically put it out to like figure out, can I really do this? And so I used that website to be able to do it. And I just happened to not have a deck of cards on me. So, I didn't want to go out and spend $5 for a deck of cards to do it. But it really helped to be able to do that. And then I also did it when developing one of my RPG games that I've been developed, the TTRPG games that I've been playing with.
Mm-hmm.
It uses both dice and a deck of cards to be able to figure out, to develop the world, to do world building. It uses both of those. So it was nice to be able to have it, like just a digital version of it, to just be able to throw out there and just play with it. I also have a deck, I have plenty of decks of cards at home, so I can easily grab a deck of cards, a real one, and play it out. Um, but they have to be shuffled, and
Yeah.
I can shuffle cards on deck of cards in like a click. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's just a tool and it's there.
I will
So
say,
yeah,
since you've mentioned it, and I just looked it up, I have been adding decks, and as far as I can tell, it's infinite decks you can add. Makes it extremely large deck of cards, and it starts to get very laggy.
yeah,
So don't add a lot, and they will all shuffle. And it's hilarious seeing them shuffle because it's so much lag.
yeah.
Anyway, if you want to break a web based game, there you go.
There you go. Hey, the things we do to get through lunch or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
As an alternative to Minesweeper, let's play with
Oh.
a deck of cards.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, anytime you need a deck of cards, there it is.
It's right there. Yeah.
If you're playing some other TTRPG, there's plenty of TTRPGs out there that use a deck of cards to do their randomness.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to do some world building or whatever. So it's nice to have.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to move to our primary topic?
Sure. What do we got for our primary topic?
Retro games.
Sweet. I've been looking forward to talking about this.
We got two things to answer. What do we consider a retro, and which ones do you love? You go first.
Okay, so for me, retro games really have to files be I want to say almost 20 years old. So as long as they're about 20 years old and older, to me that's retro. Um if within the last 20 years I feel like everything's kind of not, I don't want to say similar. Obviously things have improved a lot. But how games have started to run the way they are today seems, I feel like it's been about 20 years since they've really kind of gotten into a similar groove. But prior to that, the early days, that was, that to me is retro. So what do you consider retro, MJ?
I think of retro more as a feeling
Okay.
because it's got a nostalgia piece to it, right? So
Okay.
if
Yeah.
you're if you're playing a really really old game, it gives you that feeling of like, oh, I remember this. Oh, it was
Mm-hmm.
great. It was fun. I loved it. And then you're dipping back into it. It's all about how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to say, oh well, it's not 20 years yet, so I don't consider that. That I don't care about, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
more like, well, how did I feel when I played it? It was great. So to me, you do need years, right? It does need to be some amount of years. So 20
Mm-hmm.
is pretty good. But if it's 19 years and it feels retro, hey, I'm going to call it retro. Probably
I
probably the best thing is maybe examples.
Yeah.
So what do you give me? Throw me out like a couple of games.
Okay, so just some things that popped into my brain, and again, this is going back to my old console days. Um, I'm thinking games like Ratchet and Clank from the old PlayStation games. So these were really fun, um, basically 3D platformers. So it's not like a set. You can run around a world basically. Um, but games like that to me are retro. Going back a little bit further, I think of like the old Nintendo games. Like I'm thinking of like Mario and all that from the NES era. That to me is very retro because that's going pretty close to the beginning of when consoles really started to become a thing. Um, and then you got there's so many different things. Well, maybe I'll let you grab a couple first, MJ, before I keep going. What about you? What are some that you think of?
Oh, let's see. Probably uh, Dune, the old Dune, where you were kind of a strategy, it's a top down, and you had to play factions. They even made up a faction called the Ordos, which don't exist in the Dune world, but they had to make up a faction that
Hmm.
worked a little differently, so that you just didn't have, the Atreides and Harkonnen, right? That's it. You had three different factions, and you could play the faction, and it had extra tools. It had different units you could build, that did special things, and I like that one. It was I'd call that retro, and I don't know when that came out, but I would say it's more than 20 years ago, and it was the predecessor to Command and Conquer. Command and Conquer came next, and it was sort of the spiritual predecessor, or the next anyway.
Is Dune a DOS game?
Yeah, yeah, DOS game.
It looks like it might have came out in 1992.
There you go, 1992. But I loved it. Command and Conquer even is probably more than 20 years old, so people could consider that
Yeah.
retro. And it to me was, the first game where I saw that I remember where it had cutscenes.
Hmm.
Like Command and Conquer, you played one of two sides, and if you were the GDA, the Global Defense Alliance or whatever it was, then you got certain types of units, and if you played the Nod side, you played those, right? So uh, you had those units, and then you kind of pitted them back and forth against each other, collecting spice, or collecting not spice, but um, some kind of crystal that you collected, and then you used that crystal to turn into basically money, and then you
Hmm.
could buy more units and whatever else. So it definitely it's the successor, the spiritual successor of Dune, because they both worked exactly the same. And I think Command and Conquer, of course, had better graphics, and I think it would also run under Windows, the early versions of Windows. So it was
Hmm.
kind of a different shift there. So I think of that. I think of stuff like that, but I also think of like pre that. There's like old text games that you play,
Yeah.
like Zork, or
So I've heard of Zork.
there was this game where you just typed out your every single command you had to type in and type. It was based off Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and so you
Hmm.
had to remember the steps of how to play the game. Like, okay, grab your towel, put the thing in your ear, and then go out the west door, and I mean, you had to know the story, and if you
Yeah,
knew
you
the
had to. Yeah.
story, then you typed in the commands and you figured it out, and then you were. So the fun of it was trying to figure out what commands you had available to you. Like, how do I get the towel? Oh, is it just get towel? Okay, well there you go, get the towel. You know, how do I look at my inventory? You type inventory. It's just you had to type this stuff in. But that's what we
Hmm.
did in high school. In my high school, that was what was available. There was also this one game, I think it was called Space Command.
Okay.
Very, very low graphics, very low graphics, but it would work off like an EGA, VGA type graphics,
Hmm.
and we played the heck out of that in our college computer lab. We'd bring it in on a disk because it had this. It could exist on two of those large floppies, the larger floppies, the 720s, and you could put it in and you could play it. And it was built to do that. It was built to play off of a floppy. So crazy stuff back in the day that we had to do. But
Oh, that's
that was
cool.
our limitations. And that's another thing about retro is retro had limitations.
Yeah.
You can only display so many colors.
Hmm.
You know,
There
or you can
was.
only go so far with graphics.
Yeah. There was a game. I don't know if you've ever played this, MJ. Maybe you have, but did you ever play the Myst series?
I saw it, but I never played it.
Okay, so growing up, I remember we would go to my grandfather's house, and he was one of those guys that he was old school, but he still liked like more advanced technology. He would always try to get some of the latest stuff if he could. Just it was always his personality. He wasn't one of those stubborn old guys that like the old ways are better. He was always up for it. Uh, but he bought a computer and he liked doing some games on it. One of the games that he would play was Myst. Now, anybody that's ever played Myst, and this falls under the category of retro, it's a point and click adventure style game. It's got a really in depth story. It is probably one of the most difficult puzzle games I think I have ever seen or played in my life. My grandfather was a very intelligent man, though. He had a stack of paper. He created his own walkthrough guide on how to beat the game, like because that's just how his mind works, and he was able to structure it completely. it's interesting in this game the way the original was is it had a combination of actual, just video game style graphics, just moving through the world, point and click, and then it would also implement actual acting with real people. So you'd see these real people walking around in this computer looking graphical world. Um, it what they they're trying for realism, of course, but you're talking old school graphics, so it just looks out of place, a real person walking around in this not very great world. They've done, obviously today it's completely different. They can make the fake world look just as real, but it's funny to see the process. And then the second game came out of that. He did the same thing, created a walkthrough. Also, I consider that one retro. That one was a lot better, in my opinion, than even the original. But these are games where choices matter. But point and click was kind of a big deal in old school games, like because you're still getting, the engines are still getting really designed and created, and a lot of this stuff is being done by hand. So being able to get into creating these kinds of games was not as easy. But having somewhat static images, and you just kind of have options to click on things, that can go a long way to helping tell a story. Also, very atmospheric game. Like you felt a part of the world in these kinds of games. At least back in the day, they may be dated now, but they have revamped the original Myst a couple times. They even created a VR. It's like a one for one copy of the original with updated everything, graphics, movements, all that, just in VR. So that, I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was that was another one that I was thinking of that I like to bring up, or with
I
retro.
remember there was a parody game that came out after Myst called Pissed, and they made fun of it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No, but I feel like that somebody would do that because it was a
Yeah.
tough game.
Apparently, there was a
That's actually
screen where
hilarious.
this bird kept flying by or something, and you were like stuck at this fence or something, and so in Pissed, the bird would fly by and it would poop on you. And I don't know
So
what
was this an actual game, or was it just like
yeah,
some kind of video? So okay,
it was a game that
that's
somebody made.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's a parody of it. I mean, I imagine it was just a cheap little indie game, but
Right.
what we would call indie. But yeah, it was that was funny.
That sounds funny.
Coming from outside, I've never played either game, but
Mhm.
I thought, man, that's got to be hilarious, right?
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, and I liked a lot of the old school themed games, like Star Wars games. I always liked the Star Trek games. Big nerd growing up. So whenever I would see like something from those genres coming up, I would always try to jump into playing it. So those were definitely old school,
Yeah,
and they were just fun.
yeah. You can go to things like websites like DOS Zone and ClassicReload.com. You can go to several game sites and you can play these games. They load up in a tiny little screen, or I
Hmm.
don't know, using some kind of web technology to do it, like I don't know, Java or whatever. But you can play like the old Oregon Trail. I
Oh
never
wow.
played that. I never played Oregon Trail, but I've heard about it. But I played Doom. I played Wolfenstein 3D. SimCity 2000 was kind of cool. Even the original SimCity. I played the
Hmm.
original SimCity,
I
and
did as
SimCity
well.
2000 is was kind of cool. I mean, it, being able to put those little zones down and watch things build, and you got this kind of cool interface. There was a game called A Train, which was this game that I purchased at a store or somewhere, which I'd never heard of that game. But it's like you you got this regular supply of materials, and you had to build a city, and
Mm.
your little train would come by and drop off materials, and you built out stuff, or someone built out stuff. You were required to bring the stuff to it, or I don't know, something. It worked something like that. But you play games like that, and it's like there's a little strategy to it, and it's kind of cute. The things that amused us over a summer, when we were young, or maybe it amused us over a winter or whatever. Uh, and then we just never played them again, right? Like we stopped and left them behind. But then you jump back into it and you're like, oh, I remember this. Oh, that was cool. Oh, that was fun. I don't go for that too much. I'm not too into those feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not tuned into my feelings about that very much. But there are some of them that I like. I load it up and I play it for like an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll probably never touch it again. But it's kind of neat to be able to just go down memory lane for just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, happier times kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Everything looks better from a distance, right? So past always looks a little better just because it was a while ago.
Right, right. I was big into shareware at the time. Like I said, I never did consoles, right? We did actually own a console. It was a Wii,
Hmm.
but we we got into the Wii for a while, me and my wife. But other than the games that were fun on that, I mean, we never upgraded it. We still have it.
Yeah.
It's a Wii, but we don't play it anymore. It's just in the closet. I mean, we don't use it, but we
Hmm.
played it for a good solid 10 years. We got our money out of it. And
Hmm.
groups would come over to our house and we would play it, play bowling, or mainly it was like Mario Kart. That was kind of the big
Hmm.
deal back then.
Still
So
is, I think.
I would kind of call Mario Kart maybe a retro at this point.
Yeah, just one that keeps getting revamped.
It does. It just keeps getting rewritten. Now you got Mario World and Mario this and Mario that
Yeah.
and Mario Universe and whatever. And whatever. And you see the characters just reimagined everywhere else, and that's
Yep.
fine. The Wii kind of did it in a nice way. Plus, the Wii had like exercise programs and stuff like that, and we did that too.
Yeah, that was surprisingly good, like for a video game system. That what they had set up for
Yeah,
the even a little bit of exercise, but no, I
even
definitely like it.
some of the games were actually good for things like attention deficit disorder and
Hmm.
Alzheimer's. They
Hmm.
improved. They put it in front of people's like Alzheimer's patients, and it improved their coordination a little better and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So that's good to know that
It
it serves
helps.
some kind of good purpose and actually helps the brain.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like one thing that we could do throughout this podcast history is like even just picking games like that we enjoyed, and we can just each pick one and maybe just kind of talk about it. Maybe we can look up some info. Maybe we can share our experiences with it. It can be old, it can be new, whatever. Um, but that might be a fun thing to do because then we could maybe get into. Obviously, we can't get into detail about everything we've played over the years. That we'd be here for hours. But we can definitely split it up and have it into small segments and see what's going on there. And anybody
Sure.
that's listening, if you wanted to maybe share your favorite retro game, we'll plug some things later on that you can even comments just on this podcast. Please send them our way. We'd love to hear what people remember from their histories in
Yeah, we'll talk
games.
about it. We'll
Yeah,
talk about it.
maybe we'll
Maybe we
bring it
played it.
up. Yeah, it's very true.
Very good chance we did between the two of us.
We do have a pretty broad range between the two of us, that's for sure.
What's weird is that we have such different paths,
Hmm.
which is okay,
But we've both kind of just settled on computer at this point in our lives.
I guess. Yeah.
To a degree, anyway.
Right. Right. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So for our concluding comments, we just want to remind you that you can visit our website. It is MJ and Blue Gaming, all one word, basically. mjandbluegaming.carrd.co. So there is the links to all our socials as well as our email there. Feel free to click on us, send us some email, buy us a coffee maybe. Whatever links are there are good. Speaking of email, feel free to send us a message so you can not only just comment on where the episodes are, like an Apple or whatever. You can also email us, so feel free to send us an email message. We'll talk about your email. Share with us your history of gaming, or maybe share some thoughts from our episodes. Maybe you disagree about something. We'd like to know. Let us
Mhm.
know either in email or comments. Maybe we can share your thoughts in a future episode. If you feel like you've got some kind of value out of the podcast, please consider buying us a coffee, and we will enjoy that coffee. So also, we always look for ways to improve. So if you've got a suggestion on that. We're doing our best. We don't, it's not like we have huge sponsors, so we don't have hefty equipment, but we're doing our best.
I'm Blue. Nice to talk to you guys all again.
I have been MJ. Take care.